empty praise and treasures that fade are never enough. Then you came along and put me back together, and every desire is now satisfied here in your love. Hey, oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. Oh, and I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. Lord, you've seen them all, and you still call me friend. 'Cause the God of the mountain is the God of the valley, and there's not a place your mercy and grace won't find me again. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies, yeah. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. Look at the flowers in all of their beauty. Don't have to wonder, you know what you're doing. So why would I worry at all? 'Cause you're faithful to supply everything I need, everything I need. My Father has it, my Father has it. Every single time the Lord will provide. My Father has it, my Father has it, yeah. sparrow, lacking for nothing, no fear of tomorrow and what it will bring. If I have you, I have enough. Your love will satisfy. 'Cause everything I need, my Father has it. My Father has it. Every single time the Lord will provide. My Father has it. Yes, my Father has it. Yeah. Seek first the kingdom and its treasures. Everything else it will be added. All that I'm needing, I know the Lord will provide. 'Cause I know my God's not empty-handed. 'Cause He gives us blessings upon blessings. I'm still believing. I know the Lord will provide. So seek first the kingdom and its treasures. Everything else it will be added. All that I'm needing, I know the Lord will provide. I know my God's not empty-handed, 'cause He gives us blessings upon blessings. I'm still believing. I know the Lord will provide. Everything I need, everything I need, my Father has it, my Father has it. Every single time, the Lord will provide. My Father has it, my Father has it. Everything I need, everything I need, my Father has it, my Father has it. Every single time, the Lord will provide. My Father has it, my Father has it, and its treasures. Everything else it will be added, and all that I'm needing, I know the Lord will provide. I know my God's not empty-handed, 'cause He gives us blessings upon blessings. I'm still believing. I know the Lord will provide. I know the Lord will provide. I know the Lord will provide. How I long. Oh, I'm sorry. This one always starts off really early. Can you start it over? How I long to breathe the air of heaven, where pain is gone and Mercy fills the streets to look upon the one who bled to save me, and walk with him for all eternity. There will be a day when all will bow before him. There will be a day when death will be no more, standing face to face with he who died and rose again. Holy, holy is the Lord. In every prayer we prayed in desperation, the songs of faith we sang through doubt and fear. In the end, we see that it was worth it when he returns to wipe away our tears. Oh, there will be a day when all will bow before him. There will be a day when death will be no more, standing face to face with he who died and rose again. Holy, holy is the Lord. And on that day, we join the resurrection and stand beside the heroes of the faith. With one voice, 1,000 generations sing, worthy is the Lamb who was slain. And on that day, we join the resurrection and stand beside the heroes of the faith. With one voice, 1,000 generations sing, worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Forever he shall reign. So let it be today. We shout the hymn of heaven with angels and the saints. We raise a mighty roar. Glory to our God who gave us life beyond the grave. Holy, holy is the Lord. So let it be today. We shout the hymn of heaven with angels and the saints. We raise a mighty roar. Glory to our God who gave us life beyond the grave. Holy, holy is the Lord. Holy, holy is the Lord. Holy, holy is the Lord.
Children's church can go with Miss Amy. I want to ask you a question and see how many different answers we get, what they look like. But just in your opinion, when you hear the term, he's a man's man, what do you think of?
My husband.
Okay. No. I didn't say who do you think of. I said what. So, huh? Muscles?
Works outside.
Works outside, gets his hands dirty, let's. Hyper focus. When you hear the term, he's a man's man. What do you think of? Huh? A provider? What? Huh? Not afraid of doing things. He's courage, yeah.
He's good at things that other men admire.
He's good at things that other men admire.
He takes care of his family.
He takes care of his family. Spider killer. Okay.
He's a man that leads other men in the right direction.
He's a man that leads other men. There's always somebody gonna give you the good church answer, you know. But when you think about being a man and like what it means to be a man, there's a lot of things. I almost saved this for Father's Day. I was like, it's kind of a good big Father's Day sermon, but I couldn't. I was like, no, I can't do that. I just got to keep moving on. And but we think about, like, when we say he's a man, we think about somebody that's tough, somebody that's got muscle, somebody that works hard, and all these different things. And today we're going to see like not just what a man is, what a real man does or should do. And so if you have a Bible, and you should, I'd like to invite you to open it to 1 Kings chapter 2. 1 Kings chapter 2. Now, a lot of y'all are going, hey, we was in 1 Kings last. Some of y'all probably don't even remember where we was last week. But you're like, we was in 1 Kings last week, chapter 1, and we went to chapter 2, but we went to the end of chapter 2. Now we're going to back up just a little bit and see what takes place between the story of Adonijah. I just spilled water on myself. It's fine. So, 1 Kings chapter 2, verse 1 says, now the days of David drew near that he should die. And he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be strong, therefore, and prove yourself a man. And keep the charge of the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes, his commandments, his judgments, and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that you may prosper in all that you do and wherever you turn. That the Lord may fulfill his word, which he spoke concerning me, saying, if your sons take heed to their way, to walk before me in truth with all their heart and with all their soul, he said, you shall not lack a man on the throne of Israel. Moreover, you know also what Joab, the son of Zeruiah, did to me, and what he did to the two commanders of the armies of Israel, to Abner, the son of Ner, and to Amasa, the son of Jether, whom he killed. And he shed the blood of war in peacetime, and put the blood of war on his belt that was around his waist, and on his sandals that were on his feet. Therefore do according to your wisdom, and do not let his gray hair go down to the grave in peace. But show kindness to the sons of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and let them be among those who eat at your table, for so they came to me when I fled from Absalom your brother. And see, you have with you Shimei, the son of Gera, a Benjamite from Baram, who cursed me with a malicious curse in the day when I went to Mahanaim. But he came down to meet me at the Jordan, and I swore to him by the Lord, saying, I will not put you to death with the sword. Now therefore, do not hold him guiltless, for you are a wise man, and know what you ought to do with him, but bring his gray hair down to the grave with blood. So David rested with his fathers and was buried in the city of David. The period that David reigned over Israel was 40 years. 7 years he reigned in Hebron, and in Jerusalem he reigned 33 years. Then Solomon sat on the throne of his father David, and his kingdom was firmly established. David is on his deathbed. David is about to take the last breath that he will ever breathe. And he calls his son in, Solomon, who, if you remember in chapter 1, he named Solomon king. And he calls him in and he says, hey, listen. First thing he says is this. Listen. This is such an important part that I think a lot of times we miss. Listen to what he says first. Now the days of David grew near that he should die, and he charged his son Solomon, saying, listen, I go the way of all the earth. Underline that in your Bible. Underline it and remember, everything and everybody that has life is going to die. Every tree's going to die. Every blade of grass is going to die. Every fish is going to die. Every elephant's going to die. Every dog's going to die. Every cat, well, I don't know. And every person is going to die. I got news for you today. 100%, if you don't take anything else I say, you can take this. You gon' die. You gon' die. Sooner or later, you gon' die. It's happening. And David says, listen, I go the way of all the earth. Not only is all the earth going to die and all the people that's already died, but I'm going to die. And he said to Solomon, you're going to die too. One day you will die too. And he says, so I'm leaving. And he says, I'm going to leave you behind some advice. We just call it the advice of a father. The advice of a father. And he says, and because of this, because he says, therefore, he says, be strong. So that's the first thing I want us to look at. If you want to be a God following man, be strong. He says, be strong and prove yourself a man or a God following woman. You can interchange, okay? But he says, be strong and prove yourself to be a man. Now, if I say, let me ask you a question. I'll just give you a definite or a couple of choices. Frank, come over here. Frank's like, oh, no. You know I don't like being in front of people. Frank, come up here. If Frank punches me in the face, if he punches me in the face, he punches me in the face, in your opinion, what does a man do?
Punch back.
Huh?
Punch back.
Punch back?
It's on.
Huh?
It's on.
It's on. That's kind of what our expectation is, right? If Frank does me wrong, Frank steals my lawnmower out of my barn, and I drive by and I see Frank on my lawnmower, what am I supposed to do?
It's on.
It's on. What am I supposed to do? Be quiet. What am I supposed to do? He's on my lawnmower. Run him over with your car. Willow, talk about it. Like pull over and say, hey man, you know what's up? Okay.
Call the cops.
Call the cops. She already said run over with your car. This is the best answer so far. If Frank mistreats my kids or my wife,
That's when you
what is a man's man supposed to do?
That's when you get your gun.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace. If Frank hits me, he drills me in the face. Full out punch. And I get up and I say, man, it's okay. The only reason I called you up, you got that Vanderbilt. I didn't even see that. And I said, man, hey, it's okay. It's okay. And then I said, man, I don't hold no ill will against you. And then, boom, he does it again. It's on. What else? Anybody? And I get back up, I'm like, man, it's fine. I hold no ill will. Boom, he does it again. No, Miss Andrews, what do you think?
You say thank you?
Thank you. All right, you go sit down. Appreciate it. Listen, guys,
So many times.
guys, we're gonna look at some good advice and some bad advice in just a minute. But the way that we see the world is messed up. You understand what I'm telling you? It's messed up. Everything that we're taught and we're trained and we think is this way to live is all wrong. All wrong. And David says, hey, listen, I'm leaving you with this advice to be strong and prove yourself a man. Now, this is David, what David's saying. This ain't what God's telling people to do. This is what David's telling Solomon to do. And then he gives him some great advice. Beautiful advice. Keep the charge of the Lord your God, to walk in His ways, to keep His statutes, His commandments, His judgments, and His testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses. He says, listen, you want to be strong and be a man? Follow God. Follow after God. The Bible makes no sense, guys, in the way that we live. The Bible makes no sense in our own human American brains. Because the world says, if Frank punches me in the face, it's on. Call the cops. Run him over with your car. Punch him back. Whatever it might be. The world says, get as much as you can get. Barbara snapped me the other day. And I sent a picture, I think, of me like by the swimming pool. I was like, who thinks I should jump in or something? And Barbara said, do it. YOLO. Miss Sue, you know what YOLO means? Yeah, I know. I knew you didn't. That's the reason I asked. Miss Laureen, you know what YOLO means? No? You only live once. You only live once. Do what you want to do. Enjoy what you want to enjoy. Go live for you. You hear it all the time now. Take care of yourself first. None of this is biblical. None of this is biblical. None of this is biblical. The Bible says, put others before yourself. The Bible says, when your enemies come at you, pray for them. Give them a glass of water. Do all these nice things for you. The Bible says, if you want more, give what you have away. It makes no sense until you do it. And you gotta show up and show out in all these different aspects of your life. When you give things away, and then all of a sudden you just see. I'll never forget, man, I was having a conversation with Mark Jones. Mark used to have, I don't know, he might still have them, but he used to have these they were like credit cards. I thought he was giving me one of his credit cards when he handed it to me. It's like, I'm going to run this bad boy. Oh. And, but he handed it to me, and on the card it just said something like, pay it forward, do something nice for somebody. But Mark said that he went in, and I don't know if this is the exact story, but it's my story. He ain't up here, so he can tell you the truth later. But he says, goes in, I think it was like a gas station, key stop or whatever, and he gets in, and somebody paid for his biscuit or whatever he was getting, probably some fruit and some peanuts or something. You know, he don't eat nothing bad for him. And anyways, he goes in and somebody pays for him. He goes, oh, okay, I'm gonna pay for the person behind me, you know, or whatever. And then come to find out, like that event led to people doing more stuff for him. And he was like, this was his exact words: I learned cannot outgive God. You cannot outgive God. But we don't do it because our minds, the way that we're taught, everything that's around us, that idiot box that we watch at home that's up on the wall, it tells us everything that we're supposed to know. And look, it was like, oh no, well, God's full of liberal media. No, it's the same. There's right media too. The ones on the right telling you all. Now I don't mean right like wrong and right. I mean right like left and right. And the ones on the right are telling you, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, you know. And the ones on the left are like, oh. I'm going, this ain't nothing but a mind-controlling organization. Both sides. Both sides. David's like, listen, you want to live a strong life? Do you want to prove yourself a man? Follow God. Follow His ways. Be obedient to Him. And he says this. He says, hey, when you do that, He made a promise of what He would do to you. He says that you may prosper in all that you do and wherever you turn. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean financially prospering or health prospering, but it does mean spiritually prospering. And I'd rather prosper spiritually than anything. I'm not going to lie to y'all, okay? I'm fixing to be open and honest as I can be. I don't know how much more preaching I can do. I don't know how much longer I can stay. And the reason that I say that is because I just can't deal with the half-heartedness. I can't deal with it. I can't. It's just like it's becoming too much. Because that's the way that we live in America now. It doesn't matter. Hey, I'll come to church as long as something else better ain't out there. I'll come to church as long as I don't have to serve and do anything. I'll come to church or I'll put some money in the offering plate as long as it's not asking too much. And it bothers me. And I see all the things. Y'all don't even know all the stuff that I listen to every week. And see pastors walking out of the pulpits because they just can't take it. Now I'm not going nowhere. Okay? Don't be so everybody sitting there going, oh God, Brother Johnny, what are we gonna do? I can tell you, if Brother Johnny leaves, you're going to do what you've been doing. You're going to keep serving the Lord the best you can, regardless if I'm here or not. Never follow a man. Always follow Christ. Okay? But I want you to know. I want you to understand. Because we all have these same feelings and these same fights. I talked to Frank the other night for probably, I don't know, it was late. It was past my bedtime, but he kept talking, so I kept listening. And I talked a little bit, he talked a little bit. But we talked about all the things that are right and all the things that are wrong. And we talked about how that most of us all have the same struggles. But you know why men, now look, we both agree, like man, the women's group, they got it going on. I mean, they're like texting each other like, hey, I got ingrown toenail. Would you please pray for me? Hey, my horse got a bird caught in his tail, and I'm trying to catch him. Would you pray for me? And what might seem like insignificant stuff, but they get it. They understand how great God is and how God cares about things in their lives. But the men, on the other hand, like, and I told Frank, I think it's exactly what I said. I said, you know what, because we was talking about controversy and how controversy sometimes gets in the way and not just gets in the way, but we don't know how to work through it. You know, if me and Mike disagree on something, like Mike is going to stand his ground and I'm going to stand my ground. You know why? Somebody take a guess.
Because you're a man now.
Huh?
Strong because you're a man.
Well, I don't know if we're strong men or not.
Doesn't matter.
Huh?
Just a minute.
Just men? I mean,
It's
I-
right.
Huh? Pride, ego, 100%. Listen, it's this. Men don't never want to be wrong. Men never want to be wrong. I've said it 100 times. We could walk out in the parking lot and maybe we need to repaint the stripes. Me, Danny, Stanley, and Tuck could all go out there. And Tuck would be like, look, let's get some trash bags, we'll tape them down, and then we'll spray in there. And Danny goes, oh man, let's just get a piece of plywood and we'll set it down and then spray it against it in an empty spot. And Stanley's going, why plywood? Cardboard's like it. We could put cardboard down there and do it. You know, and I'm like, hey, let's just get a roller and go across through there. And listen, every single one of them would work, right? They would all work. But if we said, we're going to do cardboard, Danny's going out. I mean, if you don't want to use the plywood, then, just do it however you want to. That's a pretty good invitation for Danny. And Mike Tuck would be going, well, yeah, cardboard's light, but plastic is super light. But if you want to use cardboard, go right ahead. Have it your way. That's men. Because we all want to be right, and we all want to do it our way. But David said, listen, if you want to be a strong man, do what God says to do. Follow God's ways. Keep His commandments, His judgments, and His testimonies. And he says, hey, after that, when you do that, you will prosper. You will prosper. There's been times that I have been completely healthy. I felt like, physically, I felt like $1 million. I'm like, man, I could go out here and run full court basketball. I know y'all know that. You take it a little too far. But there's been some times that has happened. But I felt this great in my body. Physically, I felt great. Spiritually, I was bankrupt. And there's been times I have felt terrible. It's either sick or something hurting, but you're following God and you're like, hey, this physical pain don't really bother me that much because spiritually I'm busted into sins. Those things happen. And David's saying, listen, if you do this, you will prosper in all that you do, wherever you turn. Then it gets down to Joab. I always say, it's one thing to hold a grudge, but it's a whole other thing to hold a grudge for a long time. Right? But David says, hey, listen, here's Joab. Now listen, any of this stuff that you want to read, you can go to 2 Samuel chapters 16 through probably 19 or 20, and you can read every one of these stories. He breaks it down for you. But he says that, hey, Joab, you remember what he did to me? You remember that he killed 2 of my commanders? He killed Abner and Amasa. And he shed blood in war and peacetime and put the blood of war on his belt and the sandals on his feet. He says, listen, do you notice that David never says anything? This is men. Everything is always about us. Right? He never says, hey, remember he tried to steal the kingdom from you last week? You know, remember Joab went out and he went with Adonijah? He never mentions that. He just talks about what he did to him. What he did to him. And that he was still holding on to him. He says, therefore, do according to your wisdom. And do not let his gray hair go down to the grave of peace. He's like, hey man, you give this guy down the road. You let this guy know that you're in charge and he's got a bad thing coming. Then he says this, but show kindness to the son of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and let them be among those who eat at your table. Now, if you remember, if you know anything about 2 Samuel and David telling this story, he says that Barzillai comes, and he actually tries to get Barzillai to go with him. If you remember, he was like, hey, we're going to get across, and Barzillai goes, man, look, I'm 80 years old. I'm about to die. I got nothing to offer you. Let me just go back home to my people and die in peace. And David says, okay. And so he gets him across the river. The Bible says he hugged him and kissed him and said, hey, thank you for all you've done. They brought them money, food, all kinds of stuff, all those Barzillai and all his people. And they came, and David remembered that. He said, be kind to them. Then he gets to Shimei. Listen, he turns again. A Benjamite from Bahurim, who calls me with malicious curse in the day when he's wanting Solomon to take vengeance for him. Because it's all about what he did to David. I'm like, hey, David, I wonder what Uriah would say about that. Huh? I mean, he took Uriah's wife. Then had Uriah killed. If anybody was holding a grudge, it should have been all of his family. David's like, oh man, he mistreated me. He got this curse on him. And he said, and I swore to him that I wouldn't hurt him. Like, that'd be like me and Brian Tatum not liking Andrew, and Brian saying, all right, Andrew, it's over with, man, you know, whatever feud was going on, I'm not going to hurt you. And then Brian comes over going, hey, man, I'll give you $100 to go punch Andrew in the face. Like, that's what David swears that he won't touch him. Listen what he says. He said, I swore by the Lord, I will not put you to death with the sword. Now, therefore, do not hold him guiltless, for you are a wise man and know what you ought to do to him, but bring his gray hair down to the grave with blood. I'm like, David, you go from great advice. I told y'all David would never win Father of the Year. He just wouldn't. Like, you've got this great advice over here. And then you follow it up with this vengeful act that you're doing to all the people who've done you wrong. Like, it's kind of like, I talk about war. But it's kind of like we're all fine when Alicia's son's fighting our battle. We're all fine if it's somebody else's people going over to die. I know you don't, but if you go up to me after and say, keep leading like war, I'm going to tell you to go somewhere. Okay? I know that war happens. But we are fine as long as it's somebody else. When I look at the American flag, it does something to me. Because all I think about is from the very beginning of the United States, of men and women, mostly men at the beginning, but a lot of men and women that have fought and died for our freedoms. The very freedoms that they give us, that we basically spit back in their face. We're fine with it being that way. And look, David's like, look, ain't no blood on my hands. You go kill him. Like, what? What? David, are you losing your mind here after this great advice you gave? And he's like, hey, I ain't forgot how bad they are to me, how bad they were. And I ain't forgot how good Barzillai was to me, how good he was. He says, so if he was good to me, you take care of him. If he was bad to me, don't even let him rest. Did you hear what he said? Bring his gray hair down to the grave with blood. I mean, that's a pretty vengeful guy, isn't it? I mean, he's really looking for it. And listen, if you already know what happens at the end of chapter 2 because we covered it last week. David has Adonijah killed. I mean, Solomon, did I say David? Solomon has Adonijah killed. Because Adonijah tries to get, remember the Shunammite woman? He tries to get her as his wife, and he goes in and at least appears to have this plan with Bathsheba. If you keep reading in the rest of chapter 2, you see that Shimei and Joab, they all died. So be careful of what kind of advice you're giving your kids. 3 things, really. 1, make sure you leave some advice for your kids. I used to go to family reunions, and all my mom and all the old people would be sitting around. They'd be talking. I'd be like, this is so boring. I just want to go over here and play kickball. You know, they'd all be around talking about, oh, yeah, remember Uncle Tate and Uncle Tate's wife, Gertrude, and they had that fun. And they're all talking about this, and I'm like, don't nobody care until you get older. Then you're like, man, I wish I would have sat around and listened to some of those stories. I wish I would have sat around and been a part of some of those stories and learned some stuff. Talk to your kids about things good and bad. If you make a mistake, don't be afraid to tell your kids, I did this. It was wrong. It was a sin. Your kids grow up thinking you're perfect because you ain't never told them none of the bad stuff you ever done. No lie. When I was 16 years old, actually it might have been 15, Jeff, 16, I learned from my brother that at about 12 o'clock, between 12 and 1, you could go out in the driveway, put my mama's car in neutral, push it out of the driveway, jump in it, let it roll down the street, start it, and then go run around for a couple hours while she was asleep. Bad example, Jeff. You're such a bad brother. But we did so many things. And I tell my kids, hey, listen, look, every person is a sinner. Every single one of us. And if your kids never understand, now I'm not saying that you tell a 4-year-old that you got blistered drunk at your prom. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying as your kids get older and they start making choices, you tell them. Look, my kids know that I went to a dang school event, decided to get alcohol and drugs, and got suspended for 10 days. I almost failed my senior year of high school because I was an idiot. And I try to tell them, like, listen, don't do this. This is the result a lot of times of that. Some of you parents, like, y'all don't have any guard. Look, if your kid's got a problem with you looking at their Snapchat or their Facebook or their Instagram, it's not because they just want to have independence. It's because there's something wrong on there.
Amen.
Huh? Come on now. And if you don't monitor it, shame on you. Why just let my kids do what they want to? That's the reason they're killing people when they get 20. That's the reason they got all this stuff, because you ain't never done nothing to them. Y'all like, you stopped preaching and started meddling. Yeah, I am meddling. Like, give them advice. Give them encouragement. And say, listen, don't do this. It is wrong. It's a sin. It's bad. Bad things come from it. But then you can also say, because this is what a lot of young people say, well, Mr. Johnny, you did that. Look how great you turned out. I'm just going to go do the same thing. That's stupid. You can tell them, but if you make a mistake, there is still time to recover in a lot of instances. And David, he gives Solomon this great advice: follow the Lord, be a strong man in the Lord, and all these different things. And then he ends on this big vengeance trail that is so mind-boggling. I cannot imagine laying on my deathbed and saying, Joseph, don't you forget that time I treated me bad. You don't let him rest. Why? How does it? That's what he did, guys. This is exactly. It makes it. When I'm saying it right now, David's going, that don't make no sense. Oh, that's stupid. You know. But yet, when we read it in David, we're thinking, attaboy, David. Attaboy, be a strong man, take vengeance on all the people that done you bad. I want you to fast forward to the New Testament. Jesus Christ said, if you walk in my ways, if you walk in my ways, I will always be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. You're in the palm of my hand, and nobody's strong enough to pull you out. And he says this: when your enemy does you wrong, pray for them. When somebody, he says this: if somebody steals your stuff, just let it go. Just let it go. Look, if I woke up and somebody was in my house stealing my stuff, y'all remember I said it last week or week before? Like, I'm not going to jump up for joy and be like, oh, Clinton, they just got a TV. They just got a TV. Everybody's going, but did they get in the safe? Yeah, they got that too. It's all right. Jesus is going, look, if you want to carry my torch out into the world, this is the way I need you to act. This is the way I need you to act. Now listen, it's early discussion. Me and Frank was in it for a while. But there is a lot of need for men to gather together. To gather together and share our struggles. Look, I said, there's men, you get men together, we don't want to talk about our struggles. Because if I say, I'm going to ask Taylor because I know he's going to give me the right answer. If I say, Brad, like, man, I'm just suffering in this sin, and it's, whatever, let's just say this. I'm suffering in this lustful sin. I don't know what's going on. What's the first thing, not you, but a lot of people think when I say that? Huh?
You dog.
You dog?
We're all suffering.
I know that. I mean, I get that. But what, like, if Andrew comes to me and says, "Man, I'm struggling with drugs really bad," I'm thinking, you're weak. You're weak. And that's the reason we don't share. Because a lot of times men, unless it's something that we all struggle with, a lot of times men, we're like, oh, God, poor fellow. What an idiot. This guy's struggling with, finances. Well, let me tell you, this is what I do. You don't know what you do because you got more money than the bank. We need people that understand each other. that can sit down and say, hey man, I'm lost in porn and I don't know what to do and I can't get away from it. And my brother, one thing he always asks me all the time, he'll call me almost after every Sunday and says, okay, I know that it says that we should seek God, but how do we do it? He always asks me, how do we do it? And I'm like, well, you flee from sin. Yeah, but how do we flee? Like, he wants me to break it down and give him some 14-step thing of how we do it. I don't know. But I always like, I don't get it. But it makes so much sense because we always got the answer, but never the solution. You hear what I'm saying? We always got, the answer is God. The answer is forgiveness. Yeah, but how do we get there? And we're going to try to start meeting. I don't care if it's just me and Frank, if it's me, Frank, Tyler, and George, whoever it is. We're going to start meeting, and we're going to start sharing our struggles with each other. Because you know why? One of Danny's favorite sayings in all the Bible, he says it all the time. Iron sharpens iron. And we can't get there. Hey, Danny, does iron sharpen itself? So if it's just one piece of iron out there, it can't get sharpened. So you need the other. And we need to go with each other and against each other and for each other to sharpen us so that we can be this strong man, proving ourselves a man, not in the world's aspect, but in God's aspect. Sometimes I think about the end of life. I cannot even fathom in my mind. I know there's songs about it. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. And he says, what will I do? Will I fall before you, Jesus? Or before you will I stand, or whatever? Listen, I've said this 1,000 times. When you see Jesus, you will be on your face. John the Revelator, who spent 3 years with this man, when he seen his glorified self, boom, down. Because he is holy. And you're going to understand that he took his holiness and he wrapped it around you and he made you holy and you didn't deserve it. I challenge you. Pray. Ask God. God, I don't want to think like an American. I don't want to think like a Baptist. I don't want to. God, I want you to erase the way that I've been taught on things that are wrong, and let me absorb it in your word. Let me do according to what your word says. I promise y'all, I'm almost sure. I think I seen it on like TikTok or Facebook or something. I don't know, it could even be in the news. Not all that stuff's true, but I'm pretty sure this story is true. This old lady, she goes out and she gets in her car in a parking lot. And this guy reaches in right as he's getting in. He's trying to grab her purse and he's trying to take it. And then he's like, get out, I'm still in your car. I don't remember the exact story. But the lady said, I started praying out loud and said, Jesus, help this man. He has lost his mind. And the man ran off. Like, what? She didn't start fighting. She didn't do anything. She prayed. Now I know you're thinking, well, that makes no sense. I know it don't. She started praying, and the guy ran off. Trust God. Test God's ways and see if your prosperity don't get better. I'm not talking about your bank account. I'm talking about your heart. I'm talking about your spirit that overflows on the other people around you because God has poured himself into you so much you can't help but pour it into others. Would you stand today, Christina? Would you stand with me? I just want to ask you, are you following good advice or bad advice? Are you trying to do things God's way or your way? Are you living for your spiritual side and other people's spiritual lives, or your physical? When you think about yourself, do you think about what an impact I can make on people around me with sharing Jesus or helping them out financially or whatever it does? Or are you like, I got to take care of myself first? Are you living YOLO? You only live once. Hey, listen, I got news for you. You're never going to die if you talk to Jesus. Hey, not only, I'm going to live once, but not only once, I'm going to live twice. And that second time is going to be an eternity in heaven with Jesus Christ himself, who died and gave himself for me. Who is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, who created everything. Without him, nothing was made. I get to spend eternity with him. Do you? And if you do, how are you living here? I beg you, ask God, help me. Help me see people the way you see. Help me forgive the way you forgive. Help me teach the way that I need to teach, whatever it might be. God, don't let me just be another American being controlled by all the stuff that goes on around us. The altar's open. You're more than welcome to come, whether you're wearing an apron or not wearing an apron. You're more than welcome to come to the altar. Miss Christina,